Hey,
Oh,
everybody! Woo-hoo!
hello.
Welcome
Hello.
in, folks. Welcome in. Guys, we have an awesome guest, but before we get to that, Parker, how you doing?
This is your new bit, isn't it?
How you...
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
This is my new bit. You have become the bit, Parker, and I'm sorry. You
Okay.
are a human being as well.
I'm gonna be really honest with you right now. I've been friends with you and Sean for almost 2 years and am used to being the bit. Continue.
You're familiar with this relation.
With
It's good.
With this part of my job, I'm actually very familiar with
Let's be fair though. We're all the bit. We're
Yeah.
we're a bit.
every single one of us.
Yeah, it's all for comedy. Anyway, I'm glad you're good, Parker. I'm glad you're here. We are here with the one, the only Agonethetic. Did I do it right?
You did.
Yes,
Yes!
you did.
I screwed it up the first time like a jerk, and I felt so bad. Small brain,
No, you're good.
Cubby.
Oh my gosh.
Agon, tell the people, where can they find you?
Hello, my name is Agonethetic. Angie, I go of course by Angie. They them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter, on TikTok, all around just D&D Nerm. I'm also an illustrator. I also have a Patreon. And yeah, you can find me in those.
Thanks for joining us today. I mean, we're super hyped. We're going to do interview things and ask you what you're working on here in the corner in a minute. But first, we go and do some announcements. Parker, do you start those?
I do. So, this week we just have our weekly campaigns after this. So, we have Off the Rails on Friday at its usual time, Conundrum Company on Saturday at its usual time, and that's our next week. It's up on Instagram if you need a reminder. It's also up on Twitter. Our community event is coming. I swear to God, I'll get the guys in a Discord call and we'll figure it out. On to you, Josh.
Okay, first announcement is a full disclaimer. I have played Dungeons & Dragons for 15 hours
Oh,
this
good.
weekend, and
So
my
good.
brain is mush, so
Yep.
we're at the end of that. So it's worse than usual. But anyway, my slow collapse into goo is brought to you by our fantastic sponsors, the first of whom is Skull Splitter Dice. Skull Splitter Dice, guys, they not only sponsor our programs, but they also sponsor a cool giveaway you can get on during our regular campaign shows and stuff like that. In the meantime, go over to the link in chat, take a look at their products. They're very, very good. We highly recommend them. Really cool stuff. Of course, our second sponsor is the GUIs to Cube companies, GUI Cube. They make a whole bunch of supplemental materials for your D&D 5e worlds. They make a whole world built for you, so if you don't have time to homebrew your own world, you can literally go over to GUI Cube, get it all done for you. It's beautifully packaged. It's ready to go. We take a look at the link in chat. Our Twiki, thank you to the folks who've been working on that. Our players, Tanner Methalidor, all those wonderful people. The Twiki is a compilation of all kinds of information about all of our shows. It's very cool. If you're interested, go take a look. And then, of course, last but not least, it is the final day of this charity. We're going to be switching up next month. So this is your chance. I mean, you could do this at any time in your life. Please don't let us stop you. But through us, if you want to click on that donate button in the About section or in the link in chat, it's going to take you over to the donate page for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The mission of the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is to advance cures and means of prevention for pediatric catastrophic diseases through research and treatment. Consistent with the vision of their founder, Danny Thomas, no child is denied treatment based on race, religion, or family's ability to pay. We really ask that before you spend money in the store or subs or bits, you instead consider donating to this wonderful charity. Again, the link is in chat. You can always get to it on the About Us page. It is fantastic. It is the best place to spend your money. Okay? And with that, it's time to ask questions. And normally, so what we usually do is say, what are we painting? I'm painting this thing still. I just have the legs left and then she's done. Cool. Parker, what you working on?
One day I'll change, but not today. I'm painting with Bims. Those little minis from Dragons and Beasties, which if anybody's ever seen me have Bims' little plush is also where that is from. It's not actually Bims, but it looks enough like him that I love it. So I'm going to be painting this little guy like Bims.
We love a Bims. Okay. And Agon, my friend, what are you working on? What do we got here on the screen?
Currently working on a character sheet for a original character design for my animation thesis. So yeah, just be working on that. I'll show some examples later if anybody wants to see. But we're gonna start with that.
there is so much going on that screen. Can I just say, there's a character palette on the right top, and there's all the layers and the brushes and the wow. What app is this?
This is Clip Studio Paint,
Okay.
which is pretty great. Typically goes on sale really easily, like throughout the year. When I got it for $25, and you just have to pay like the one-time payment, and then it's yours. It's not like Adobe, but
Oh,
it's
cool.
it's as comparable to Adobe Photoshop as it can be, with extra features. You can do like 3D modeling. You can do animation with it. It's awesome. It's a great program.
Wow, I mean that's really impressive. I was gonna say it's got a lot of that Photoshop vibe coming off of it, aka
Yes.
lots of little buttons.
Yes.
So very much like it. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, with that, it is time for us to ask our other questions. And Parker, I think you lead the way there.
As soon as I put a brush in my mouth. All right, first question. Super easy, and I like this one. How'd you get into D&D or TTRPGs? I think I actually know this answer, but I'd like you to tell the people.
I'd like to know, please.
So, I got into D&D through Critical Role. Very much kind of, I remember vividly, I was living with my best friend, and I came home from like an awful day at work, and we had a visitor, like another friend of ours visiting us, and they just had it on the TV, and I was like, what are you guys watching? And they're like, oh, it's this thing called Critical Role. It's a D&D show. And I'm like, okay. And so I look at the screen, and I'm like, wait a second, that's Travis Willingham. I know Travis Willingham. I was an anime nerd when I was growing up in high school. So I noticed Travis just by sight. And then they're like, yeah, they're all voice actors. And then that just kind of led to it. I got really into it, got really into cosplay because of it. And then with those same two friends of mine and a few others, I was like, hey, do you guys want to play some D&D? And I went into it as the DM. First time playing. It was a lot. It was a lot to handle, but it was a lot of fun. And that was my first break into like the TTRPG and D&D thing, was just basically because of Critical Role.
We love us some critters here at the Welcome Man.
We do.
We love us some critters. Okay. So that's your D&D origin story. That first DM is a scary role.
Yes.
So once you got to play and try out some of the classes, can you tell us what's your favorite class to play?
Yes. So my absolute favorite class to play is Barbarians.
Yeah.
Yes. So it definitely has a little bit to do with the fact that it's a little bit easier. Because I have a little bit of ADHD, and I need to be able to like keep up with reading mechanics and also making sure I'm paying attention to what's happening. And I feel like with Barbarians, I'm able to just kind of hyper focus on like the one thing, which is like, rage and hit. I'm sure there's of course other ways to make it more complex, but for me, just like Berserker Barbarian, so much fun. Just literally just go crazy, and just slash and kill things. It's always really fun.
Do a hit.
Yes, do a hit.
That's a fascinating perspective, and I'd love to like sit down with somebody to discuss that one day, like regarding the accessibility of different class types in D&D.
Yes.
Because that is a very real thing, and I had never even really considered it until you just mentioned it.
Yeah. In one of my current campaigns I'm playing with my partner and some friends, I wanted to do a blood hunter, and it's very fun, and I really like this character, but oh my god, I've played them for like 10 sessions already, but I still can't remember how certain mechanics works, and it is a constant like going back and forth, because it's a lot of writing and a lot of like different features that like, if they're so useful and they're so cool, but if you miss it, oh my god, like
That's it.
Yeah. My friend Sasha Rogue Arcanus on Twitter and TikTok played a blood hunter, and she was absolutely amazing. And then I was like, I'm gonna play a blood hunter too, and I'm like, how did you do it? That was it's, how do you have the attention span to be able to do this? But how do? Yes. But yeah, no, when it comes to that, it can be a little bit challenging, but I feel like we persist.
We persist. That's valid. That's valid.
So let's see. Do you have a favorite race to play?
Yes. So
I enjoy asking these questions.
Yeah, I think it's real, considering like what we were talking before the start. But favorite race to play is hobgoblins. I just think they're really interesting. In the sense of, so I know there's like a lot of like back and forth talk about alignments and like, oh, should you follow the alignments that are in the book, especially with monstrous races, and with in Volo's guide, I remember reading like, oh, they're lawful evil, which personally I don't like to play into those sort of things, like evil and good. But I do like to play into the lawful, neutral, or chaotic nature of alignments.
Mm-hmm.
And with hobgoblins, the one thing that I found really interesting was the fact that they're very much a lawful society. And this was what was stated in Volos, where it's like they're never the ones to. It's that saying from like that movie, the Disney movie. I won't repeat it because I don't know like the things you can say or
What
not.
is that?
Like in Aristocats, when the little one says, "Ladies don't start fight, but they sure do end them."
They finish them, yeah.
They finish them. That's kind of like what hobgoblins are about in the book. It's like they will never start a fight, but if you start it, they will finish it. So they're very much like lawful in the sense of like they're very polite with other people and other races, and very much like let's have a conversation about things. Let's be civil. But if you're not going to be civil with me, I'm not going to be civil with you. And I just thought that was really cool. And then when I created my favorite character, who's a barbarian hobgoblin, I decided to throw all of that out the window and make him a little bit of a rowdy guy, because I also really like playing into fighting against the standards with my characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's always good to, I was going to say, never put anything in a box, right? You don't know people's lived experience or any of that sort of thing, so that's
exactly.
I always think of the hobgoblins as kind of the chivalric knights of the goblinoid society in a lot of ways, the way they're written as, which is also very cool. But I love this direction you took them.
Yeah, no, I love that you put it that way, because it is like a very like chivalrous thing of like, I will not like they will do what is right for them, for like their society as a whole, but never out of a necessity to just be chaotic, right?
Yeah, they're very interesting. There's like a Bushido code sort of thing going on with them.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, we're applying cultures and things like that now, which got to be careful with. But nonetheless, very interesting aspects there. Okay, so favorite race to play then. So are there any classes you haven't played that you'd like to play? Anything on your list?
Yes. So it's funny that I've mentioned that it's difficult for me to pay attention sometimes when it comes to like very verbose things, but I want to play a sorcerer. I will be getting the chance to play a sorcerer soon.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to it, the Shadow Sorcerer. So, just kind of want to. The good thing is that it's a private game, so I feel like it'll be a good learning experience with like, okay, which way I can go and like try it and then see how that expands.
What level are you guys starting at? Level 1?
Level 3.
Level 3? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So luckily, there'll be a little bit I can do.
I played a level 20 Shadow Sorcerer in a random combat arena once. And I will say, it's really neat to make your own darkness and then teleport to it.
Oh,
like, there's some cool flavor with that. there's a lot of neat things you can do. So.
Oh, I love that.
Not a big sorcerer person myself. I've only played one once, that one time, but I remember that.
Sorcerer's one of the ones that I haven't played because it intimidates and confuses me.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorcerer points? No, thank you. No,
What's
I'm
that?
good. I'm like, no thanks. I'm good. I'm fine. That sounds like a lot.
Big brain, no thank you.
Big brain, no think. Which is why barbarians have become my favorite melee class.
Yes.
That was incredibly freeing. I was like, I just hit it twice, right? Like I could just hit it.
Perfect.
One hit.
It was great.
I do a yell. I go crazy. I hit.
I
There
hit.
it is.
Whoop whoop.
I always feel like I need like a tiny bit of magic, so I just did like, a nice little wild magic, and I'm like, we're good.
Dunzo.
Done. Totally fine. So, is there a race that you are interested in playing that you haven't gotten to dive into yet that you think would be fun, either aesthetically or just to break the standard mold on it?
Yeah. I think. I feel like it'd be fun to play as a changeling.
Yes.
Yeah. One of my friends was working on a changeling, and I liked their approach of doing a lot of different aliases and like personalities and people, and like they were really leaning into that idea of just having kind of a rotating deck of people that they could be. I think they had like 4 total, and I thought that was really cool because it just sort of allows to flex a little bit more creativity when it comes to like playing more than just one person. But I feel like it would also be a lot of work. So again, it's like the things that I am looking forward to playing or trying is like how you said, there's a little bit of like I'm intimidated by it, but I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to like bite the bullet and like try it, because honestly the best thing to do with like scary situations is just to say I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm not gonna keep overthinking it. Just do it.
Dive in head first. I love that.
Yes.
I like exploring those kind of characters and those kind of things in one-shots where you can be like, okay, I really like the idea of this, and then I play test it and I go, well, that was nice for one thing. Like,
Yes.
that was good. I tried it. I did it. That could be fun for like maybe a couple of games.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea too.
There are definitely some that I'm like, if I tried to do this for like more than 5 sessions, I might die.
Like, this is too much.
Too much,
No
too
one
much to
do.
think about, too much to do.
Yes.
So this is where the hot takes come in. We love
Oh, my
hot takes
favorite.
here. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's hot take time. Tell us
Okay.
your least favorite class to play. What do you despise and loathe?
Don't be afraid to get chat mad at you. It makes it all the more fun.
Yeah, I don't like fighters, which is, I mean, it's funny because I love barbarians. But there's just like, I don't know if it's not a limitation thing. I just feel like there's a certain sort of like, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think there's just like a certain level of like basicness to being a fighter, which sucks to say, but like it just there to be able to do so much and to have like the ability right in front of you to have all these different classes, and you're just gonna go with a sword wielding person or maybe even like a dual wielding fighter. It's like, why do that? Like just go barbarian or go rogue if you want to like sling swords around and stuff like that. Like there's a little bit more that you can achieve without it being a fighter, but like the fighter is also such like a quintessential part of like all fantasy storytelling, right? So it's like necessary. But yeah, just I guess just a fighter. I feel like it's a cop-out question because it's like, yeah, it's not like a shocking choice, I would say. I don't think.
When I think there's this. It's a lot of people. We hear this answer a lot, and it's a valid answer. I think a lot of it comes from a lack of familiarity with fighters because people look at it and go, no. The subclasses in fighters are incredibly diverse and unique across the board. And like samurai is incredibly cool and super fun, and it gets shat on, but cavalier is fantastic even if you don't want to ride a mount. Like, so there are these ones where if you look at that base class, you're like, I just hit things. Boo. But if you start to look at the subclasses, they get better. It still depends on that fantasy, right? That's what a lot of the time it boils down to, right?
Yeah, I feel like the fighter class also works really well as like an accompaniment to a lot of other classes. So like I feel like it's great to start as a fighter, but then for to like zhuzh it up a little bit.
Like a
I
multi-class.
think it's also way more fun to do fighters at like high level one shots, where you like fully have access to all of those things. Because like I know for me, like I find it like I do a lot of like aesthetic choices with my characters, and I would have a really hard time being like, all my friends are so cool and I have a sword. Like I just like there's a part of me that like knows that's not true. Like I've had like a ton of like friends, like I've had friends play fighters that are super cool.
Yeah, I'm right here, Parker.
I know. But they're also like but there's also an element of I also have a lot of friends that will start with a fighter and then multi-class it because they're like it doesn't feel like I'm doing enough, and I'm like fair. So I understand the fighter. Like
I feel like it takes a lot of discipline to also just stick with one class. So I feel like at some point people are like, oh, like aesthetically going another like class is really cool, and also like maybe story wise it just makes sense for my character to go in like in this direction. So like to anyone who's like played a fighter and stuck with it for like level on top of level on top of level, like more power to you. I respect that because honestly it like like how Josh said, I'm sure that it's a lot more fun, and like how you said also, like it's a lot more fun when it's like a high level. Yeah.
I also, being a dungeon master, I think I enjoy it because I am practiced in describing things killing things, and so each attack is role played as a fighter, which I think is something that really adds to that diversity for them and can make them more engaging. When you explain each melee combat differently, it does change the way things feel. Because then it aligns exactly with when you've got a spellcaster casting, Eldritch Blast again and again and again. It's just rinse and repeat as well. And I think folks tend to perceive that as a taboo of the fighter, but it's more about how you articulate that attack.
Sure. I like that. I like how like Josh is single-handedly like making sure that like anyone who says I don't like fighters, he is going to change people's minds.
Sorry. This is
not even his favorite class.
It's not even my favorite class. I don't know why I've done this to people before. I'm sorry. Hey, why do I choose to die on the fighter hill? Why is this a thing that I always do, Parker? Please.
I feel like you want to defend people that play them. It's not even that you play them. I feel like you're just like, hey guys, it's okay. Like it's fine, and I appreciate that about you.
I'm all for it because it's like I have not had someone explain it to me that way, and I appreciate that. And I'm always one of those people that it's like, tell me what you think, and then I will like think about it myself, and more than likely I will also change my frame of thinking if it makes absolute sense, which it does make absolute sense, like with everything that Josh just said.
Or it's also possible I'm full of shit.
No, not at all.
Oh no, thank you for hearing me out on my. I like how I was like, hey, you should share hot takes, and then I was like, okay, but here's my hot take.
No, I appreciate that. Hey, this is what it's all about, right? It's just like chit-chatting back and forth. This is what I love about it.
I love it.
Very good.
Okay, let's hear your next hot take, Parker. This is your one, right?
It is. Do you have a least favorite race?
Ooh.
One that just you look in the book and you're like, nah, bruh, not for me.
Yeah, elves.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, and there's so many options too of elves. There's, there's just like the wood elves, there's the city elves, there's like there's the drow. I've just never had an inkling to playing an elf.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. And I have no opinion about it other than just like, meh. Like it's, I think the one thing about elves that which is funny because again, I have never played an elf and I've never been interested in playing an elf, but then I get like slightly jealous of the fact that they can just like do the 4-hour meditation thing. And I'm just like, but why can't nobody else do that? Like, why is it only elves? Like, why can't it, like, can it be, like, a feat that you take or something? Is it's like, oh, well, it's their Fey connection. It's like, there's so many other characters that have a connection to the Feywild. So why can't Furbolgs do it? Why can't,
Also,
like...
satyrs don't have it, and they're, like, literally from there.
Yeah, satyrs, why can't satyrs do it? Like, it's just...
Warlocks can.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can warlocks do it?
Yes, warlocks can cheat by taking an invocation that allows them to do it.
And warlocks can cheat. That sounded very pointed, Josh.
Yeah, warlocks got that sugar daddy nonsense going on that lets them. It's a betrayal.
But yeah, elves. I guess I've never been. They're everywhere. Elves are everywhere. Why do we need more of them?
They're like pigeons.
Yeah, they're the pigeons of D&D.
Got it.
It's elves and humans are the pigeons of D&D. They're everywhere. It's
Scream.
we need more. We need more dwarves. We need more gnomes.
I take back everything I said about the fighter. You've just won every conversation you've had with me, and they are a competition apparently in this bit that I'm doing. You've won all of them.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like I haven't played a dwarf and I need to. I want to find the right thing to play a dwarf.
That's valid.
And I haven't had the like light bulb moment, but I want to.
It's a safe bet for any Josh one shot.
Yeah, you want to get all of the cool rolls and
you
action.
Want to survive?
Nice.
Yeah.
Dwarf.
You want to make it out alive? Make it a dwarf.
Nice. But yeah, I feel like the small classes like dwarves, halflings, and gnomes don't get enough love. And it's like, I don't know why. I personally, I just see that.
I love D&D for the fact that every single person, it's a little bit different, right? Every single time. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a me question again? Yes.
I believe so.
You are a content creator. Obviously, clearly, you make all of this content. What's your origin story there? How'd you get into it?
Well, so I think primarily like I've been things have been picking up for me with like D&D related stuff. And I think it stemmed very highly from cosplay at the beginning. I met Parker through cosplay and like
What a good time.
Critical Role cosplays and everything like that. And I didn't really start thinking about content until I started doing that crafting side of things. And then I've been drawing my whole life, and I, decided to go back to school and pursue an animation degree. And so with that, I've started kind of transitioning a lot of my content to art, character concept, character creation. but then also just having the chance to talk about the things that I like and the things that I love, like pop culture related things, D&D, movies, TV shows, anime. Because I sort of just thrive when it comes to all of these different things with by talking with people about it and talking online about it and making friends with people, even through like the social interaction of, you know, a computer screen. It might not be for everybody, but for me, like I get a lot of I don't know, I get a lot of like excitement and a lot of like inspiration from meeting people, like, you know, all around the world. And I think 2020 like definitely did a lot for me when it came to that. And it's only been getting more and more like I've been doing just more and more and having fun with it. And I feel like D&D for sure has a big part of it, but then, you know, as I continue with like my art, it's been a lot and very exciting. And I just, you know, yeah, I basically that. I'm like blabbering now.
No, it's wonderful.
Yeah. But I'm slowly transitioning out of the cosplay stuff. I still want to do it. But yeah, hopefully I feel like a big goal of mine would be doing like character art for a stream. And like getting into animation, and like getting into my animation degree and seeing all of this stuff with like the Legend of Vox Machina
Oh yeah.
show. Like it's been, yeah, and everything they've been releasing, and I'm just like, am I going to apply for Titmouse when I graduate? I sure am. Will I get in? I don't know, because that's clearly going to be hard to do, especially like as an entry-level person, but it's definitely been one of my like goals to do.
Yeah.
That if I get a good enough portfolio, it's going to be one of those things that I try and attempt.
Oh my
to
god,
doing.
that's amazing.
Yeah. I fully expect Legend of Vox Machina to do really well, considering its popularity already.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised that they go beyond just like the 2 seasons they have planned. And if I, by any miracle, can get myself into Titmouse or into working in any sort of storyboarding or any kind of that, I am literally manifesting that energy for myself.
You're like, that's it.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm projecting, okay? Is we're gonna be sitting here, Parker and I, like 4 or 5 years down the road, and Scanlan Shortholt is gonna fire a laser from his crotch, and we're gonna go, we know the person who drew that.
I
No, you
would
don't.
die. I would pass away, honestly.
You're like, I'm done. I'm gone. I've deceased.
Yeah, this is it. This is everything I needed to do. I just wanted to make this gnome shoot purple lightning from his crotch. And this is
You're like, I've made it.
yeah,
I'm here.
it'll be it.
Oh, that's
Like,
amazing.
I did it.
I think Parker's got our last question, guys, but prepare your
do.
questions, okay? So highlighting them is the best way to get them to us. But if you don't have the bits to highlight, our mods are keeping an eye out. They'll try and highlight them for you, okay? And we'll try and catch them as well. But with that, back to you, Parker.
All right, Angie, what is your biggest hobby outside of D&D?
Biggest hobby outside of D&D? God, this is gonna sound really boring, but it's art. I mean,
not
I'm
boring.
doing
No, that's amazing.
like I'm doing it as I'm making a career out of it, but I find so much comfort and just solace in being able to do art and create these kind of things. I mean, like this, for example, what I'm working on right now and like the different characters and everything literally started from a collaboration with friends. And now I'm making it my thesis. And even though that's sort of like a career-based decision, and like a education-based decision, this literally all just stemmed from the fun that I was having creating these characters and these stories and all this kind of stuff with a group of people. And that really is that really is just my hobby outside of it, outside of D&D. It's storytelling and creating.
That's so good. That's awesome too that you get to go to school for that and just do it for fun. I think a lot of people struggle with that sort of thing where it works both ways. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw recently somebody like on one of my TikToks scrolling through the For You page, and it made me sad just seeing someone being like, art is no longer fun for me because it's expected of me as an artist. It's just and I feel like that's such a big part, and I think they were like a younger person, but it's such a big part of content creating that it's like this is no longer fun for me because it's the expectations that people have of me. But when it comes down to it, I think not enough people realize that sometimes they just need to take a step back, and look at the things that make them happy, and kind of start fresh, in certain aspects of it, because I definitely, I can't say for the future, right? But I definitely don't want to ever get to that point where like this is expected of me and I find no joy in it. So it's the battle of finding the joy. Maybe not so much with certain aspects of it, but with different ones, like different type of content. Like, for example, like I'm drawing this and it's very sort of like urban modern kind of character, but that doesn't mean that I can't go and do like a D&D character or like some more fantasy or sci-fi based thing and find joy in that separate from this as a way to kind of decompress from what is expected of me in my education and in my career path.
That's such a like deep and like poignant statement, just period. Like when you were saying it, I was thinking about dungeon masters and like dungeon masters who have been doing DMing for like a year and are just burnt out and spent. Like taking a moment to step back and not give up on the hobby, but reorient oneself, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's
burnout is real.
Yeah, and it's also, when it comes down to it, it's also having a good niche of people that understand that like, hey, you need a break, let us take the reins for a little bit, so that you can decompress and kind of come back to it with like a fresh mindset. Sure. It's kind of like, it's like going on vacation when like you're in a 9-to-5 job and it's like you come back and it's like, oh, I need a vacation from my vacation, but then at the end of the day, like, you do it does refresh things.
Yeah,
helps reset yourself.
Exactly.
All right, we have a bunch of questions.
Woo!
So
thanks, chat.
Cremaniac asked, favorite moment that you or your party broke the DM, or a favorite moment on your natural 1 or 20, if you can remember one.
Oh my god. Okay.
This is where the thinking comes in.
These are the questions.
This is where the thinking comes in for sure. Man, it's been a while since I played.
It's been a while.
So it's
God,
like,
damn it.
It's been a while. I will say that first time I played Vannon, my Hobgoblin Barbarian.
Tell me more.
His first role in the first role of the campaign was a nat 20, so I think that was like just it was just one of those moments. It's like, this is it, this is the feeling. First roll of the start of this campaign, and it's a nat 20. And I think it was just like a performance check because he is a gladiator background, and it was just such a good feeling because it was like, I get to finally play. I'm not the DM, and I love this character so much. And here it is happening with this nat 20 to start things off. And this was like 5 years ago, so it's been a minute. But I think that's always been very memorable for me.
So now, may I piggyback off this question? Because Parker clearly knows what's going on here, right?
Yeah,
but
I know.
I'm in the dark, so I've heard a little bit about Vannon.
Show him!
Yeah. Tell me about this character.
Okay.
Also, have you been playing this character nonstop for 5 years?
No, unfortunately, I've played him in 2 separate campaigns, and both of the campaigns have fizzled out. But
gotcha.
He's become such an important character to me in like writing and just he's sort of like my muse, I would say. It's like the easiest way to look at it. He's just kind of like a character that I love so much and inspires so much confidence in me that I draw him a lot. I talk about him a lot, and I love him. But he's a Hobgoblin Barbarian that basically, in both of the campaigns that I played him in, the backstory is a little bit different, but it does come down to him sort of escaping the expectations set for him by his by a birthright, because he was born a warborn, which is part of like the Maglubiot religion. In both campaigns, like the reasons were different, but he had this warborn status that he didn't really want to live up to that expectation. He wanted to kind of find himself and his own. And then on top of all of that, he had this very strenuous relationship with his mother, who had kind of ideas of her own of using him to kind of achieve some personal gains of hers that unfortunately I was never able to kind of explore with his character, because for me she would have been the big bad. That's completely up to the DMs that I played with, but I always sort of imagined her, his mother, as the big bad. But let me see if I have art of him somewhere. I'm just like trying to see
You're
where
digging through for the best one, I assume.
I want to see. I'm like scared. Good. I'm scared to see what I can find.
Well, don't feel put out either.
Yeah, you don't have to. We can always show him afterwards.
If anything, I will make a post with some of my favorite art of him and put it on my Twitter. And if anybody's interested in seeing him, you'll see him there.
Chat, the answer should be yes. You should be interested.
Yes, I also am interested.
He is just such a fun character. Very much inspired by Gannicus from the Spartacus TV show.
Oh, so
and
good.
Also a little bit of greed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, kind of like the vibe. But he's also just a very sweet guy, sweet boy who has a lot of personal issues, because which D&D character doesn't?
Sure.
We love soft boys.
Yes.
We do. So let's see.
Love of my life.
The Auburn Alchemist asked, has there been a moment or character that has significantly impacted you in real life? I feel like you answered this question in what we just talked about.
I will say that I love, of course, this character, Vannon, is very important to me. The first D&D character that I ever played was a druid named Cyril, and he multi-classed into a cleric because of this very striking moment in the campaign for me, where he met this dragon deity named Isilia, who was I am blanking right now, but she was in the elemental plane of water. So he became a Tempest cleric, and along with being a druid. But there was this moment with this deity, this dragon, that just blew me away. I was in tears by the end of it. And I know that for me was really intense, because it just some of the things that she was saying and the DM was saying in the moment was very oh, this is hitting all the right notes for his personal struggles and his issues, and a lot of fun moments of him figuring out faith and his purpose in the world. So I know for a fact that was one of those moments that was very very striking, very important for me, especially as a player.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. What a
yeah.
I love those sorts of moments.
Yeah.
So let's see. Obscure for the World asks, favorite BBG kill you DM'd or were in a party for?
Ooh. We had a really fun in the campaign where the last campaign that I played Vannon in. We had a really fun. It wasn't really a BBEG kill, but like the moment we did take down a bad guy, and then it led to basically kind of like part of the destruction of the land, where these meteor strikes happened and our characters got frozen in like this crystal for like 6 months. So it was one of those moments of like, yes, we took down the bad guy, but then also this happened. So it was like,
You're like,
how do we
oh
come back from
no!
that?
Yes,
Yeah.
losing time in a D&D campaign is always a really fun thing to explore. Right, Josh?
Yes.
I've never seen it happen.
Yeah, never. Not once has that happened to my character while you were playing. Not once did that happen.
No.
Whoops.
Never. It never happened.
Parker leaves for 1 session, and I lose 2 months for the party.
Teleport 2 months.
God.
It's great. It's real good.
Ugh.
Chronomancy's a thing. Barnaby asked, is there a module in D&D you haven't gotten to play that you want to play?
Ooh, good question.
Let me see. So I really want to play, like, I haven't gotten a chance to play Baldur's Gate or like the Baldur's Gate stuff.
Nice.
Because I know those sound really fun. But like God, I'm trying to remember. I'm like blanking on it.
The names are all like really, really weird.
Yeah.
Tavern
I know
Simulator
about-
D&D is the big Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know like that one was like is one that I've wanted to play because I feel like that's like a very sort of like quintessential sort of like D&D thing that I like would like to. But the thing is also that a lot of the games that I've played have always been homebrews. Which has been an absolute pleasure because I love seeing just what the DMs create. And even myself, when I DM'd, I DM'd a homebrew. But I asked a question in my TikTok recently that was like, oh, give me ideas for stuff to run for like brand new people. I know people were telling me about like the mines and like Dragon
Fandelvar?
Heist.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they were telling me like the mines, Dragon Heist. So like I've been looking a little bit more into it. And I know like Baldur's Gate is a little bit more like higher level. It's not as introductory, but they do sound really fun.
They're neat to work with. That's a good question. I don't think we've gotten that question before.
Commune DM asked, when it comes to creating characters in both D&D and character design, do you tackle aesthetic, theme, or the design itself first?
Ooh. Oh, I like this question.
Big question. Very good.
I think I tackle D&D character creation and then like OC kind of character creation a little bit differently. With D&D, I definitely go into it with the like party mentality in mind, and it's like, what is the theme of the game? What is everybody going to be tackling in like their own ideas and aesthetic? Because again, I'm like I was saying earlier, I'm someone that thrives from conversation with other people when it comes to content creation. So like I do like to create things that sort of vibe and mesh with others. And then of course try and weave in a little bit of like originality in there and kind of a little bit of like a difference of ideas. Like one of my like the Blood Hunter that I spoke about earlier, they're a Kalash star, and I wanted to play with like the whole idea of dreams and them not, and the Kalash star not being able to dream, but more so I wanted to do kind of like the aesthetic of a like a Sandman dream eater, and so kind of
Interesting.
pick and choose ideas and then build it off of what it already exists and see how I can like play around with that.
So this
And then
is
when
the
it-
Shadow Sorcerer?
Not the
you're
Shadow
talking about?
Sorcerer.
Okay.
This is the
the
Blood
Blood
Hunter.
Hunter. Okay.
Yeah. Their name is Sawyer, and they're a Blood Hunter, a Kalashtar.
Ooh.
And for like original character creation, like something like this, it's a little bit more of a crazier process, because of the fact that from something like this, I do like to have like a concrete story and idea before I start creating characters. The good thing about this that I'm currently working on, for example, is that like that already existed. So it's easy for me to talk to the people who created these characters and be like, hey, how can I build off of your idea? And does this look like your character that you're thinking in your head? And able to like kind of figure out exactly what they want to see. And I know that also happens a lot whenever I do commissions and whenever I do character design, which I'm currently doing, and it's really exciting drawing something and then sending it back to somebody and then being like, don't change anything, this is perfect. And then I'm just like, I'm so glad I was able to like capture that. I do make people do a little bit of homework with like, hey, send me references, your ideas, like how you see it in your head, because it helps me. Especially with pictures, because as much as like written kind of descriptions are good, nothing helps as much as like a mood board.
A good old Pinterest board for
Exactly.
your character.
I literally, anytime someone's like, hey, I'm commissioning you for this character, I'm like, great, here's some homework for you, make a Pinterest board.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
yeah.
a pro tip. Like, audience who are planning to commission D&D characters, the number of artists who have spoken to us, especially concept artists, are like, please, have some visuals and ideas in mind.
Give me your Pinterest board. Give me specifics. Give me the things. Like, it's very fun.
And it's really important to also point out that sometimes people get kind of cut between like, oh, should I use like this reference picture? Is it okay for me to use because it's somebody else's art? And it's like, as long as the artist is not straight up copying what you're giving them, it's a reference image. Like, it helps us visualize it even more. Like, there is no such thing as an original idea, as much as some people like to think. Like, it really does come down to like, hey, I saw this, I really liked it, and I would like to sort of create a character based on this with your interpretation of it. And it's like, great, put it in a folder, a file, a Pinterest with everything that just screams your character, and then like we'll see what we can do. I think like recently I created a Pinterest board that was entirely based on a single image of like this, like for the Shadow Sorcerer that I want to play. It was like kind of like a cowboy aesthetic with like dark like black leather and everything, and I'm like, I love this, I want to make a character based entirely on this picture. And then I just keep adding things to the Pinterest board, and from that you honestly come up with an idea.
I honestly think it's really, really helpful just in general character creation to do that kind of stuff, because like I had one whole like, and you know me, I do costume stuff, so I was like, I like this one piece from this costume thing, and I built an entire character for campaign 2 off of one piece of costuming, and now the board has like 100-something pins on it. I'm like, there it is. There it
really is. It's such a good feeling, though. It just when things just come together, it really is just like the best feeling.
Barnaby also said in chat, Spotify playlists help. So I know that I do that, and I know that I have a lot of friends that do that. Do you ask for people's Spotify playlists? Does that help at all in like posing or like expressions and stuff?
No, I don't ask for people's Spotify playlists, but if I ever I do like them. Never as a source of inspiration, but mostly as like oh, can I listen to your character's Spotify playlist?
You're like, I just like to know.
I just like to know. And yeah, no, because you can learn. And Spotify playlists are great because you can learn a lot about a character from just the kind of music that you have in there. I feel like sometimes some people also give away a little bit of like character backstory without realizing it from character back playlists, because I sure do that.
For sure. Let's see. Barnaby also asked how much of you leaks into your character designs.
Oh my god.
all. Sorry.
So much for me. There's a lot.
I think character design, like the look of the character, not so much the personality though. So much of the characters' personalities can highly be inspired by certain things that are either ailing me in the moment, or I've just kind of want to talk through in a safe environment with people that I trust. Like for example, my Blood Hunter Kalashar with the whole like Dream Eater vibe. He doesn't sleep, and that he doesn't like he is an insomniac, and that literally came to be because around the time that I created him, I was going through some bad like insomnia moments of like not being able to sleep. And I'm like, I feel like this can be explored in a character for myself. So yeah, I would say more so a personality thing as opposed to like the look of the character.
Found.
And let's see. Cremaniac asked a feat and a magic spell that you want in real life.
Lucky feat. 100 lucky feat. And magic spells is so hard.
Yeah, the spell one always catches me.
Yeah.
I walk into the trap of like picking the most mechanically powerful spell, and then people are like, "You sound like a sociopath because that applied to the real world would kill people." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know what? There's no point in doing that."
Man, there's so many. I would have to look at a spell list.
Right.
But I feel like out of the top of my head, Taumaturgy.
A good one.
For sure.
Because so it's not really a hobby because it's more so something that I have to do for myself for personal reasons, but like I'm going to the gym more often right now and going through like some heavy like training, and it would be very nice to leave the gym without feeling as disgusting as I feel when I do leave it. So like so yeah, being able to just like quickly
I feel like cantrips are such a good answer for those things, because when you get into higher level spells, it's like, well, that's a little weird to apply to the real world, but like cantrips are like things that don't cost like the spell slot, and it's just way more utilitarian and nice. Like I'll take prestidigitation like any day. I'm like, yes, I'd like my drink to still be warm. I'd like my water to be cold.
I'm a fool. I'm not taumaturgy. It's prestidigitation that I meant.
Yeah.
It's another weird word.
Yes, the other one.
The other weird magic word.
It's wish, and then you wish for all the cantrips.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's it.
There you go. Problem solved.
Perfect.
So let's see. We have one more question, and we're pretty much at our hour mark.
Yeah, we are.
So let's see. Community M says, what has been a challenge in either D&D or art that you are proud of yourself for overcoming?
Good question.
Yeah. Not
ending on a deep one.
Yeah, not overthinking it. I feel like the campaign that I DM'd first time playing me as a DM, I went into it with that whole like I have to create this wild story, this insane like campaign setting, like because I wanted to do like the whole homebrew thing, and I did a bunch for it, but I feel like I ended up tiring myself out and losing a lot of steam very quickly because of the fact that I did way too much and I overthought everything rather than just having started small. And I honestly believe that kind of transcends over to art as well, that people just sort of like think too much about the bigger picture, and rather than just start at a small scale and then building upon it. It's hard to like it's easier said than done, because any artist will tell you, any like person that creates will tell you, like they want to do the most possible. They want to make sure that it's content that is beautiful and striking and fits everything that they have in their head and checks all the marks when it comes to the principles of art. But allowing yourself to just get bogged down with that basically only stifles you. And my one of the first classes that I took going back to school for art, one of the first things that the professor, his name's Robert Rivers, probably one of the most amazing people in the University of Central Florida where I'm at. What he said is just like, don't get bogged down by all the details. Literally just draw what's in front of you, but don't just waste your time with so much detail when as you continue it'll build itself. So it's a hard mentality to achieve, because I feel like we're all so much perfectionists to our own craft. And even myself, I get those moments of like, this isn't what it's turning out to be. But then you are your own worst critic. And then the moment that I show any of this to anybody else, they're just going to be like, I know someone's going to be wowed. And that's good enough. Yeah, it is good enough. And then maybe you're not wowed yourself, but that doesn't mean that it's not good and that that it's not worth the time and effort that you put into it.
Yeah.
That was
a very deep answer.
Deep,
We went
yeah.
really
Wow.
deep on the last question.
I nearly
Me and
changed
Riley
the
was like,
music
hey.
to something like really like moody, and I was like, no, that would be too much of a bit, and I apologize.
You're like, no,
Love
fun tavern music.
Love the bits.
All for the bit.
All for the
my
bits.
gosh. Well, that is our hour mark.
Oh my gosh! All
I
right.
know. Does everybody want to show what they did and or didn't get done? Angie, don't feel bad, because like nobody ever gets anything done on the show. We invite people in to do things and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that, like, with the talking back and forth, like, I was mostly just kind of, like, doodling away and kind of, like, getting ideas out. But, yeah, I know I kind of got a little bit of her done.
Aww.
And,
She looks great.
Yeah, and then she's over here and, just kind of thinking about hair and everything.
A cutie.
I love that color.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's
very
she's a fun character. I'm excited to do more with her.
She's very cute.
What about you,
Yes.
Parker? What did you get done?
I did a little bit of the first layer on Bims.
Wow, look at him.
So
Blue.
he blue. He has a lot of different shades of blue, but this figure, I forgot, it needs more than one like coat of paint on most of it. So I got one done, and then I was like, nah, that's good. We'll finish it later.
Cool. I painted all of the metallics on the
Nice.
legs and did the little skull kneecaps because edgy. So
Nice.
I made some headway. The buckles are done. You can't really see them in there, but
You did it.
tiny little points of light. So should look good. Should look good. Okay. Well, and with that, my friends, Angie, can you tell the people where they can find you and what you are doing?
Yes. So you can definitely find me on TikTok or Twitter, Agonethetic. You can also find my Patreon links through my Beacons page, which you'll see on Twitter and TikTok. On Patreon, I will be updating so much of the little bit that you guys saw here with like these original characters in my animation thesis. All of that is going to be going up on my Patreon as I continue working with it. And then other than that, if you follow on TikTok or Twitter, you'll just see me and my random opinions about D&D or some silly videos, and maybe a little bit of streaming in the future. So we'll see.
Ooh, much hype. Well, with that, we're going to do a few quick announcements, and then we will say farewell. Guys, thank you to our partner, Soundtail. I was reading. Brain catch up to mouth sometimes.
You got it.
Soundtail, guys, they bring a lot of ambiance to our games. It's a very good app that you can use yourselves. The link is in chat if you would like to get yourself a copy. We highly recommend it. On to you, Parker.
Hello, I'm here to remind you who we're affiliated with, the first of whom is Found Familiar Coffee. If you guys want to taste initiative and have 10% off of D&D inspired coffee, you guys can use the link in chat. Then we are also affiliated with Crafty Gamer. You can find that discount code in chat. Wow, my brain.
It's not just me.
You did it to me. Yeah, but they do this really great series that's called Aromas of Adventure that have these little ambiance candles that are very, very wonderful. This one smells like a Conundrum Company. It's not out yet, but when it is, I'll tell you all about it. And then also Arcane Anthems, who not only does our intro music, but also does free D&D music for the community. You can find that on his Patreon, which is linked in chat. And then also, on to you, Josh.
You said that smells like Conundrum Company, and I know you meant like the ocean and ships, but I immediately started envisioning scents for each character, like an awkward person.
This smells like Demi, then.
Okay,
this
oh yeah, I've gone down a
Chicken
rabbit hole of
ships
like, yeah.
And see.
Because I get like a kind of leathery, incensey smell from Zal. Like, that's what I'm thinking there, you know what I mean? Salvatore, just decay.
He smells like pages. He smells like book pages.
He does smell
ink.
like books, yes.
Tag yourself.
Sunshine is just acrylic paint, yeah.
What Bed Bath & Beyond can, center you?
Tag yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, the last thing I want to say in our announcements is a big thank you to our mods who are keeping up with our craziness today. Thank you, Alec, for modding Community DM. Wonderful content creator. Go check him out. Over there in mods. We really appreciate you guys. You're always the best. You keep it super safe and wonderful. And again, thank you, Angie, Agonethetic. Amazing. Guys, go check them out. And with that, stay with us. We'll raid. Bye!
Bye!
Yeah, hold on, stay. Keep waving. Okay, bye.